Before we begin, pause with me for just a moment. Take a breath. If you're someone who connects with stories about real emotions, about the quiet struggles people carry without speaking, about the moments that don't explode loudly but still change everything, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because this space isn't for noise. It's for stories that linger. Stories that don't shout. They stay with you. And now let's begin. Some moments don't announce themselves. They don't arrive with raised voices or dramatic scenes. They don't warn you that your life is about to shift. They slip in quietly, like a thin crack in glass. So small you almost miss it. But once you see it, you can never unsee it. That's how it began for Clara Bennett. The evening itself felt harmless, ordinary, forgettable even. There was no tension in the air, no sense of danger, nothing that suggested this night would matter. Clara stood beside her husband, Mark, inside a warmly lit community hall just outside Seattle. The kind of place meant to feel safe, familiar, predictable. Metal folding chairs lined up in careful rows. Soft instrumental music drifted through the room. Quiet enough to ignore, present enough to fill silence. Neighbors spoke in low voices, exchanging polite smiles, compliments, casual updates about work, children, weekend plans. It was a fundraiser. Local. Small. The kind of event people forget by the next morning. And Clara felt fine. She really did. She wore a blue dress. One Mark had complimented years ago, saying it made her eyes look brighter. She still remembered that comment. Not because it was extraordinary, but because it came from a time when attention felt effortless. A time when being seen didn't feel rare. That memory lived in her mind like a pressed flower. Delicate, preserved, from a season-long past. She felt calm, present, comfortable in the quiet certainty of a marriage that had lasted over 10 years. 10 years of shared routines, shared responsibilities, shared life. Nothing felt broken. Until something shifted. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just slowly enough to feel real. She noticed it when Mark's attention drifted. His body stayed beside her. His posture didn't change. But his eyes followed someone walking past them. A woman Clara didn't recognize. She wasn't striking in an obvious way. Not someone who turned every head in the room. She looked confident. Relaxed. Laughing easily as she spoke to someone nearby. Mark's gaze lingered. Not long enough to be undeniable. But long enough. Long enough for Clara's chest to tighten. Long enough for her breath to pause, just for a second. And in that suspended moment, something unfamiliar settled inside her. It wasn't anger. It wasn't jealousy. Not exactly. It was awareness. The kind that arrives when something you trusted without question suddenly feels uncertain. Clara didn't react. Years of marriage had taught her how not to. She smiled when spoken to, nodded at the right moments, kept her shoulders relaxed. From the outside, nothing had changed. But inside her mind, thoughts began moving faster than the soft music filling the room. She told herself it meant nothing. People notice other people. All the time. Attraction doesn't equal betrayal. A glance doesn't erase a decade. She repeated those truths carefully, like stepping stones across a widening gap. Still, when she glanced back at Mark, something in his expression unsettled her. It wasn't desire. It was distance. As if part of him had quietly stepped away. Not from the room, but from her. And that realization hurt more than the look itself. Because Clara knew this wasn't new. She had felt that distance growing for months. Hidden beneath routines. Under shared bills. Behind safe conversations about schedules and grocery lists. Now it stood clearly between them. An unspoken truth neither had named. As the night went on, it happened again. Brief. Subtle. But undeniable. Each wandering glance felt like a loose thread pulling from the fabric of their life together. She wondered how long it had been happening. How many moments she had missed while trusting the comfort of familiarity. When Mark finally turned back to her and asked if she wanted another drink, his voice sounded normal, caring even. And that made everything more confusing. Because the man she loved was still there, yet somehow not fully with her. They left the event under cool night air. Clara felt heavier than she had when the evening began. The drive home was filled with light conversation. Careful conversation. The kind designed to avoid fragile truths. She watched city lights blur past the window. Remembered earlier years, when silence between them felt peaceful, not tense. When Mark reached for her hand without thinking. When his attention felt complete. She wondered when that ease had faded. And whether she had changed too. Whether life had quietly reshaped them into two people sharing the same space, but not the same presence. When they arrived home, Mark kissed her cheek. Gentle. Familiar. Then he went inside to check emails. Clara stayed in the car. Breathing deeply. Letting the truth settle. What hurt most wasn't the presence of another woman. It was the absence of something she once felt certain about. Standing alone in the quiet driveway, she understood something clearly. This moment mattered. Ignoring it would only let the distance grow. She didn't yet know what she would do. But she knew one thing without hesitation. The life she believed was steady had shifted. And the next choice she made would shape everything that followed. Because sometimes love doesn't break loudly. It slips quietly. Until someone finally pays attention. And tonight, Clara had paid attention.